people of the interwebs. This is Ben here from Second Dynasty. It is Friday, which means it is our day to stream. Looking down here in the audio, looks like it's working. Let me know in the chat before I blabber on too long. All is looking well. And yeah, nice to see some people. Hey Anders, hey Tamsin, Clive, Glenn, Carbonhead, of course. Is the sound working, Albin? Yep. Awesome. Okay. So, we make 3D printable spaceships. Today we're going to work on one ship called the Typhon, which we've been spending a bit of time on. I might also attempt to load up a second copy of Maya, so I can show you guys where I finished off last week with the tank. Hey mon Capitan. And yeah, we'll get started. We've had a kind of soft day today, I would say. I think I just basically directly translated the Swedish there. A soft day just means like a... Well, I mean, it's kind of like what it sounds like. Chill, yeah. Chill day at work. I'm going to go to my camera uploads as well, and the one that I wanted here was the Bastille, so I need to switch projects for this one to Traveler 5, and I will load up the tank. So last week, if you were here with us, where is that tank? What is going on? This is an empty scene.
That sounds scary.
I don't like the look of this. And it also looks like only one of my videos downloaded. Okay, this worked. So let me just need to sync this. Which will keep on in the background. It might take a little while to download. I'm just going to close that off. Oh, do I not have hard drive space again? Is that what's going on? I think a part of the issue, my hard drive's been running out of space, and the auto saves in Maya keep stuffing things up. We really need to clean the files up a bit, Albin. Let me just check this. Sorry about this, guys. I'll get right onto this and check back in the chat in a second. This PC... Yeah, 6 gig left. And it looks like Dropbox is paused syncing. Oh, you know what I've done? Instead of just pausing the notifications, I didn't. I snoozed updates instead of the notifications. So that's why that wasn't working. All right. So this should start working in a second, but let's have a look at the Bastille. So if I go to my channel box, I think I can turn back on. This was our, how much volume it's meant to take up. One thing I realized was I had been counting each of these square as a ton, and actually each of those squares is only half a ton. So I did ask Mongoose if this is the Bastille or if it's the other tank. If it's the other tank, which is meant to be 15 tons, this would be perfect. If not, this is, I guess, meant to be like 25% larger or something like that. I'm not sure how much volume you would have to go up in to make it, let's see, I want that available offline and I want that available offline. So I've got something going on my other screen here. So yeah, sorry about this. And let me get the stream up to date. Too many ships? Never. Let's see. I think... Yes, here we go. So this was the reference that we had, and this is where I've got the model today. You can kind of see there's a lot more paneling. There is a little bit of a mistake I made, misinterpreting this sort of like actually goes in, and I kind of saw it as a gap with a gun for some reason. I don't know why, but I interpreted this as like a gun or something to begin with. But clearly it's like a screw type hole thing. But I did actually keep the shape a little bit because it would have required a lot of rework. And I've just put some lights in. So I hope the team like this. Otherwise, it's going to be a real pain to change that geometry. Of course, the backside completely undetailed, the underside fairly undetailed. The basic block out, this is just like another, I guess, day of work. Or figuring things out. Maybe not a full day, but certainly like we can see some detail on the hull and that. And I think actually, whilst I wasn't too excited when I saw the design in art, once I got it into 3D and it actually looks like a proper object and gave it a bit of shape, it actually looks kind of cool, and you can get some interesting angles out of this one.
I mean, it really pops when you put it in 3D.
Yeah.
Comparison.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I'm going to close this off without saving, and we'll go back to Erebus in a sec. But I just want to show off one recent thing. And let's see if this will work. Right, yeah, there we go. So we have new shelving installed. So that we could add some additional ships. I'll probably post this up on social media later today as well, but you can see our sort of traveler section. Which, yeah, I really like how it's looking. And then we move over, zoom back on the science ship there. We've got some Type S's, we've got our Ornithopter, Shuttle Alpha Mark II with wings, Shuttle Alpha Mark IV. We've got our Mule, we've got the Spider Crab, the Arrow, the pirate grindy thingy. I keep forgetting the name of it. A lot of starfighters from. And of course, like the camera is too detailed in some ways, so it actually looks cooler to the naked eye. That might be because I need glasses, but you've got the Delta 2400. I think I call it the 2300 in the stream. And of course the Erebus. Looking good. And then here, of course, is our original wall of spaceship. So now we have 2 walls of spaceship. And yeah, that's where we're at. So I guess... and behind the door, just here, that's our printer room / storage closet. Oh, wow, we've got an object that disappeared. I don't know where the hell that just went.
We got a question concerning the tank, though.
Yeah?
Will the barrel be able to elevate?
I'll make it so it works, yeah.
And then Tamsin came back with some math. If it's meant to be 30 ton tank, a quick bit of math says you just need to scale it up to 126% to double the volume.
There you go. I was pretty spot on. So, yeah. 25% larger. 26%, I guess, technically. Right, well, that's a bit frustrating that I can see that there's actually a missing object here. So I'm going to try a few things. I'm going to go back by undoing. And hopefully... Just got to remember I've got to go slow. Maya has a tendency to crash. See if this will work. So I haven't gotten as much done this week than I normally would. Unfortunately, one of my close friends died earlier in the week, so I haven't really quite been feeling up to working, but that aside, I mean, if there was ever going to be a week that we could have a little bit of downtime, it's like between delivering a campaign and getting the pledge manager up, so let's see, I don't know if I'm doing enough of this I have a feeling like my undos are gonna end just there it is.
I hate when that happens. That's
Yeah.
so freaking
There we go.
frustrating.
This is the object I was missing. So let me explain what I'm trying to achieve here. So when we did the bridge for the Erebus, it was just empty. Sorry. When we did the bridge for the Typhon, I just didn't take any pictures of this section. So I needed to come back, and this is obviously the bridge from Erebus, and we needed a new placement there and to figure out what's going on underneath all these sensors. So I've started building a cool little station. I think it looks quite good. We can have a look at the render I did earlier. It's a nice little nook sort of area, but we've got to keep working on this a little bit. So I thought we could do this today whilst we chat. Will the barrel be able to elevate? Okay, so we're actually up to date with the questions. I probably killed the conversation there by mentioning, my loss this week. But yeah, so we want to get this all together and into. I'd like to have this so that you could have like a standalone piece of furniture too. And currently there's just like a couple of different components to it, so we need to finish this off. But before we do, this piece needs a bit more work as well, and I'd like for it to fit into this nook. Previously we had it over here and it was taller, but it intersected with the ship. Now that's less of an issue. We will have to set this up so that it's, going to be able to take this extra piece and whatnot. Some parts will print just fine as they are, some won't. Okay, I'm sorry, Stephanie. No, it's tough to talk about. I have trouble talking about it, and it honestly is a friend who had some serious health issues his whole life, and he actually lived more than twice as long as what the doctors thought. But still, it was a bit of a shock, and Anyway, that's all I'll say about that for now. Or actually, that's all I'll say about it. It's I guess a private matter. But I am sorry for your loss as well. That's really rough. This is just like one of my childhood friends. I think it would hurt exponentially more losing a sibling. But yeah, I guess it happens. Alright, so let's try and focus on the work instead. What did you guys think of our new display area? We're gonna get pissed tomorrow. There's Aqua Blore, which is a festival they have every year here in Vänersborg, and for once my wife usually has a race day, so I'm home with the dog on the Sunday, but this weekend no races, so I can go out and party to my heart's content. Ooh. Which means I needed to clean all of the crap off of the sofa in the office, because this is probably where I'll be sleeping tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. So, yeah, the shelving is one of those things we've put off.
For a year or something?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time, hopefully, and a good distraction from everything. Although, you never know. But, yeah, so we're sort of getting ready for a party. It's likely to rain, and it's an outdoor festival, so some of the time we'll probably end up spending in the office. It's only like 150, 200 meters away, maybe. 200 meters, maybe?
Oh yeah, I think it's like a 200 or something.
Yeah. Maybe 300. I'm not sure, but it's close. It's my point. It's a lot closer than my 4-kilometer house. So I'm really looking forward to not riding home completely pissed 4 kilometers at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's not a good workout.
It's not fun. It's not fun, and I can say it doesn't make your hangover any better.
No.
But I'm really kind of liking the little shape of this little nook. You can still kind of see out the window if you're seated there. It's just like going to be a space scene rather than, you know, having the pilot section. I deliberately made it a bit lower down. I felt add some nice asymmetry. And my idea was to kind of fit some kind of machinery like this into that nook. Although I'm not entirely sure if that's the best way to do things. I think the machinery should be there. But the question is kind of like, do we put it... Let's see, where did we have it, first of all? We had it here to begin with. So I'd just been working on... See how this is like intersecting? So I was working on making that not intersect. And I think one of the ways we could do this is actually to lengthen like just a part of this. So actually, if we had these as two separate objects, I might need to delete some history there. That's quite a list. So I'm just going to grab these. And I'm thinking like in the original model, this section sort of was a bit longer. So if I isolate that, just grab these polygons, I could potentially like just lengthen this so it becomes behind. See how that's, if we bring it back just a little bit more, see how that's no longer intersecting? And by intersecting I mean like moving through an object, in case you're unfamiliar with the term. So if we work on this frame so it's like, I think maybe we just extend the lower half out to cover that, and then we're probably in a good spot, I'd say. So the other thing is we want to make this machinery look like it cuts off just there, or just above. So my question would be, can this I was stuck on loop there for a second. Will this intersect with the ceiling? It looks like no is the answer. So it would make it look nice and busy. So I think what we'll do is we'll focus on just this piece. And I think we just extrude it out some more. But we do want to cut it up a little bit because we want to maintain some features. Okay, that's an issue for some reason. Don't know why that's like that. So we're going to rebuild some geometry. If that makes sense to you guys. So we're just cutting down the bottom, and my goal is to sort of like cut out the areas that I want to make longer. And we'll come in here, all the way down there. Oh great, that's not selecting everything. This is tedious. This is one of those things where I really wish there was a Maya, like, I think, you know, one of the good areas where AI could come in is like with it kind of figuring out what you're doing and then like saying, okay, you're trying to select all of these. Do you want me to select it all for you? That's like a good use of AI. When you're sort of like enhancing the work, not replacing a human, doing the tedious stuff. So now see how this is like separate and we can actually drag it out because I cut it, and we want the full object again so we can sort of maneuver this to the edge. So somewhere along here-ish should be okay to support. This is still a separate object, so it's not really an issue. Let's see. That's a cool computer workstation. Thank you. Oh, nice, and nice to see you, Liger. Love the partying stuff, Stephanie, and you need to make an all dot matrix print so you can print all the scan data. Not the worst idea. Oh, I feel old. I grew up with those.
What is that? I don't.
Alvin showing his age. What is that? A dot matrix printer? It's an old school printer from the 80s and 70s, I think, maybe into the early 90s. Basically, where it had if it was like one long roll of paper and it kind of rolled into it, and so like you ripped off the pages and it made a hell of a noise when it was printing. So we've run into a bit of an issue here, and that's the shape. But let me try and isolate this so you guys can see more clearly. So you can see here we've got some intersection going on. So the trick, since this part isn't going to be seen, I mean, it will be a separate piece and you'll print it, and we'll probably just make something stick out of this so that you could easily plug it in. I think we're going to have to lose some of this detail basically down here. And I might not... I'm going to cut this off, first of all. So we should be able to grab that now and just move it wherever. So I'm going to move it away. And then we need to sort of like recreate this shape, I guess. Essentially. I might also... Let's isolate this again. And I think we want to, like, we still want some support in here. So I might, like, duplicate this because this is an overhanging area. There will be a gap. Bridging, this would make it like 2+ centimeters of bridging, maybe 3, and that's just a little too much. So what we can do is maybe duplicate this object altogether, and in the duplicate just remove everything that we don't want. See that and that, delete, and we're left with this section here. So basically, if I delete all around there, whoa, did that not work? Or if I got both objects selected at once, maybe. Okay, so this is the problem. This is what we wanted to do. Okay, so this time when I select around here, we should see the edge disappearing. Because essentially we just want this inside area. So let's delete that, and hopefully now we get this sort of inside section that we can move over. So this will go back to where it was. Ben, what have you done? You're down the path of nostalgia now with the dot matrix printer. Yeah, I know. I mean, let's be honest. I think many people into my stuff might just happen to be in a similar sort of age range. I'm not saying everyone, but people that can remember the 80s at least. Which I guess does feel like a bit of a simpler time at this point in the timeline. Does that not match up at all? So I'm just trying to recreate this shape, and actually the way to make sure that that actually happens, I think, is rats. So if I just go into this mode again, I'm going to halve this, and I'm actually just going to delete. Oh, why didn't that work? No matter. We can actually delete all of this. We're going to delete everything except for that bit there. And what we're then going to do is, actually all we need to do is extrude this across. So I'm going to extrude it to there. We've actually got the, see how that's black? This means that the normals are facing in the opposite direction. So I have a tool, flip normals, but in Maya you could go up to mesh display and then reverse, and it flips the normals, and you can see they've turned back into a gray. And then we need to remove the geometry in between. Actually, let's just select all of this. It'll be faster to deselect what we don't want. Delete. So now we've got, if we look at the overall object again, you can see we have this sort of support in the middle. Now, whilst this won't look super attractive, we could potentially, you know, do this multiple times to have some additional support, so make it feel a bit more spaced out. And in this case, we probably do want to just fill in those gaps again. Just leave it as a separate object. And actually, no, that's a better way to do it. Let's just copy this a couple of times, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these edges, aside from these bottom three. Actually, no, that's not going to work. So, all right, let's just take these edges. I need this. Sorry, guys, I need to see this separately again. So there we go. Right, so we want to grab these edges all the way over to here. We have to select this a little bit at a time, because if we take it all at once, again with the Swedish, geez. If we do it all at once, man, if we do it all at once, it's not going to, the way Maya calculates it, it just, you know, does the lesser of objects, and it's counting like around this way to have lesser areas to actually bridge. So, so we want this bridged, which creates a line over here, and we also need to kind of fix this edge here, but I think the way we do it is actually to grab all of this, sorry, and we're going to just move our pivot point, do the trick of move your pivot point and then scale just that line back. And then we can essentially just grab this, stick it over there, and then we can just do a nice merge. Merge vertices. And we've got, you know, this shape coming in again. And then I think the easiest way forward is to grab these edges again. We'll go all the way down to here. And we may as well grab down here as well. And we're just going to extrude across. We're going to make sure that this is flat, and then we're just going to match it to here. Let me actually turn off that snapping. And then we're just going to do like bridges to close off these smaller gaps. Oh wait, there's a larger gap here. Well, maybe we will just add an extra like cut here basically. Let's move the vertex into alignment, and we will do another bridge. So we've got this edge, and this should feel like it has a nice pattern to it. And then if we look at our overall picture again, actually no, let's bridge here. Hopefully it'll keep. Wait, why didn't that work? I'm not sure. I'm gonna bridge over here, see if that works. No. Okay. What is going on? Is it just that this object is isolated and it's not showing me the bridge? See how we've got a weird, see this line here that's lit up? That indicates to me that these vertexes here are not actually aligned correctly, so we can try a merge to center there and see if that helps. And it did. See how that line went away? So I'm wondering if that had something to do with the bridging not working. Whoops, I think I hit the wrong button there. So now it worked, and we should be able to bridge here. Whoops. Gotta be careful with those edge selections. Let's see. Garland's made of. Let's see. Where's the hardpoint seat with the green and black wireframe display? Also, does the mess have all the books in the library in the LBB format? That sounds like a traveler question, and here we're in the Typhon, so it's more alien-ish. Garland's made of the burst off paper strips for the gear drive. Still talking about dot matrix printers, I think. I still have my metal ruler for the hole spacing from more business forms. The 80s, when showing a computer working, meant spinning reels or tape machines, the slowest I/O in the system. I think that's closer to the 70s end of the 80s, because I think my father brought home like a 286, maybe in like 1989 or something. I'm guessing it was around there. And we used to just play Worm on it. There was not much else. We had monochrome monitors, and yeah, it was a while before the 386 came out. And actually, when I was 13, which was in 1993, my father, who used to repair computers, bought a banged up. He brought home a banged up 286 from one of his clients, and gave it to me. And I upgraded the shit out of that computer every single birthday. Every Christmas, whatever money I could get, lawns I mowed, I would upgrade a new component. I remember specifically the first thing I changed was the hard drive, because I only had 40 megabytes. And I wanted a new hard drive with 70 megabytes. And my father said, "What do you need that for?" And I said, "For games." And he's like, "There's no games that'll fit in 70 megabytes. And he meant like as in there's no game large enough. Boy, was he wrong. No, Ultima 7 needed that. So yeah, we like I remember getting a sound blaster, and you know the first I think it was a Creative Labs 3D card for like maybe Wing Commander 3. I want to guess. We're getting closer to the mid 90s at that stage, but maybe 94. But yeah, it was. I upgraded it from a 386 to a. Oh shit! I think I just. No, that's alright. I thought I had combined two objects that I should not combine. So I had a 286, then I upgraded to a 386 SX, then a 486, and yeah. I think when the Pentium came out, that was the first time I got a brand new computer. But it was like. Yeah, the first time, and that I was close to 18 at that time, and we were landing, but we were landing with coaxial cables. You had to have a loop network, or terminators or something like that to make it work, and we used to go to like the Y with a big group of people, eat Burger King before it became Hungry Jack's in Australia, and yeah, good times. I can't remember what we were playing though. I think it might have been Unreal Tournament or Tribe. It could have been Tribes, actually. Now I think about that. And speaking of Tribes, have you guys seen Albin's awesome power loaders? I'm so stoked. If you are on the Tribe, we did do an update, and we did also release a survey. Because we want to know what people felt about the Tribe. It's our Patreon-like model where we do a new ship every month or something new. First work computer I used for CAD has 16 meg RAM. My friends with more computer knowledge said you would never need 16. That was a lot at the time, and in fact, I started out with I think an impressive 4 megabytes, and my younger brother was also interested. Yeah, I wasn't interested in. He wasn't interested in the. My younger brother was also interested in computers, and so my father kind of felt like if he was going to give hand-me-down parts to us, he had to be fair with it, and he gave my brother Dwight an upgrade to 8 megabytes of RAM. And we were staying over at my father's, and at the time, he was struggling a little bit to make ends meet. So we had this really rickety old bunk. And I just remember it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I just hear Dwight underneath me on the bunk say, "I can't believe I've got 8 megabytes of RAM." And I'm just like, what? Woke up the entire house. If the 286 was around since 82, then yeah, it was. I was never sure if we had like a ZX81 or something. But yeah, we probably got it around 87, 88. So yeah, I'd say that's the case because I mean, Dad worked with it, so makes sense. He would have access to computers. I think at that time he was working at the university, computer labs, but I don't 100% remember. Funnily enough, because I was like 8 at the time. Let's see. So that was obviously I need to be on edge mode, which is why that extrusion didn't work out. Let's see. It seems like there's a lot of chatting going on about these old computers. So everyone's given away their age. Alrighty, so I think I'll just manually bring this forward. I could get exact. See, we don't want this to be... This is actually still intersecting. Actually, no, it was just an angle there. Alright, yeah. So this looks alright. We might come back just a tad more. And then I think we'll close this off and we'll start with a bridge. We'll do 2 divisions. And the reason why is I'm just going to close this off as well. Oh, great. There's an extra piece of geometry I hadn't accounted for. I love that. We're just going to finish the bridge, I guess, and we'll do a fill hole there. Get yourself out of the gutter. I can hear you guys thinking fill hole. See? Albin's just chuckling.
Mm-hmm. Easy wins.
Easy wins. Easier said than done. Alright, so I think we could actually recycle this detailing here. And like, I don't know, how do you guys feel when we do these sort of variations? Does it feel like this is something new and interesting? Or does it feel like, oh great, he's just recycling the same old stuff again? Mind you, like, I don't think we could ever do the kind of work that we do these days if we couldn't recycle some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just, the detail level's too high. And actually we can see here we've got some issues going on here. And I'll need to look at the original model to see if that's also an issue. I suspect not. I think it has to do with me resizing the mesh previously. And you can kind of see here too that this angle doesn't look like it was originally made for that position. So what I can do here is I'll add a loop through here. Hopefully it looks okay. And then we'll grab this loop. We'll delete this section. So we've got most of it. And then I'm just going to sort of bring it over, even it up. And then before that, let me just check. My original IBM had 64 megabytes on the motherboard. Okay, so you're probably like 64 megabytes, you're in the mid-90s at that stage. First PC bought in 91 was an 86, maybe an 88. 286. Oh, right, yeah, like that's the other thing too. Like, there was a time when it wasn't just IBM. Well, I say IBM, but like a personal computer has been associated with IBM since forever. But like it was Mac versus IBM. There were like a bunch of different other computers. I remember our high school had this really whack British system. I can't remember what it was called though. But yeah, it wasn't an IBM. But fortunately, BASIC was basic, and you could program it on whatever machine, basically. So basically, wow. And I guess that's what we were learning in high school. They were ancient machines by that stage, anyway. Compared to, other ones. So when you see things disappearing here, what I'm actually doing is like isolating just those parts with like a Control 1 is the shortcut on Maya. And I'm just doing that to sort of like just get to the areas that I want to be moving around. And I should probably also cut out these walls behind it, because that's where we want to replace the things. Also, you might have noted that there was a split in the middle there, so if we just add a little, I think honestly the best thing to do is to create some new connections here and then go across like here, something like that. And then this will need one over that side as well. So now if we isolate this again, we can just move some of these parts together and sort of need to change my snapping. So that looks more correct again now, but I'm thinking I might just get rid of that form altogether, and I'll delete that, I think, and we're just going to drag these over, and some of this will just disappear entirely, and then we just drop that down to be at the same sort of level. You can see all that intersection on our little greeble shape has disappeared. Might drop that down too, just to guarantee, and then we can drop that down. And now when we weld this all together, it should look correct. Let's see. Blasted Samurai says, I have no problem with recycling pieces. I mean, Sci-fi is inundated with it. I mean, at this point, you should be modeling the most important device in the universe, the blinking tubes. Amstrad had arranged in the UK BBC computer. It might have been a BBC computer. It wasn't a Commodore, but Apple IIs and Commodores were like the first color ones. God, I can't remember what it could have been. BBC computers. I'm thinking that might have been the one.
I assume it's not the British Broadcasting.
I don't know. British Computing Company or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're just, if you look here, see how I double click that and that selects the whole thing? It's because like we need to fix this joint. So basically what I'm filling in, you can't actually see the details, but they're issues that would create gaps in the mesh. Now we're probably just going to fix it after the fact, but by doing like a fixed mesh operation. But we've got this basic shape. It does have this connector here. I don't see any reason to take it out since it's there. You could technically maybe use this in another, something else that could fit this machinery. So let's delete that history and we start combining with these other objects that we created. I just want to make sure those were the ones. And we'll spread this out a little bit more, maybe fitting it to the grid. So it makes sense if there's something under there, right there. That looks better. It's a bit asymmetrical, but I think we'll accept it. We're not against oddballs here. So yeah, we've got a piece of machinery that's going to fit in nicely there. The idea is just to have it feel like a busy space, and also that someone's just bolted in some machinery, right? Imagine the frustration of this globe going out and you have to pull out the whole machinery, right? That sounds like it belongs... BBC microcomputers. That sounds more like it, yeah. Acorn, yeah. That's it. Acorn BBC micros. That's it. So yeah, Obviously, yeah, they were different. Because of course no one had them at home. They're just like educational machines or something like that. So let's move on over to the control panel. So what have we got so far? I took out the footrests. I've left in some of this detailing. There's some intersection going on. This we will save in our... I want this to be a separate part so you can just print it and paint it easily. Get some of this cool detailing in. This is obviously the section that connects to the front section here. So it'll connect the same way that the regular cockpit is. We don't want to change that because we don't want... we want to maintain compatibility, right? So yeah, we... the only thing I really might not like here is this stool, because at present we don't have anywhere to... Jesus Christ.
Sorry, man.
Here's stool, it means poo. So yeah. Print a transparent resin.
I'm so sorry.
What? Spectrums with the rubber keys. I don't think I remember those ones. But anyway, yes. We are a little bit old. The lot of us, by the sounds of things. So yeah, I want to get to this now, and I kind of like the idea that this could be bolted somewhere else, and that we could do a version that's sort of like standalone. So currently, I've just gotten these screens and arranged them, and let's isolate what we've got. We're missing a couple of buttons, but in general, I think what we do is just like, wouldn't it be cool if you can see like the cathode ray tube sticking out there, at the back? And some wires going up into it, maybe? I don't know. I think that might be kind of cool as an add-on type thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually merge all of these screens together. And I feel like this is an appropriate sort of alien-like design because, you know, it seems like they're just repositioning these screens, and, you know, that's the size they've got to work with. That's the size you're using. Traveler players with disposable income. More or less. I don't know.
Have you heard about Jovian Wars?
Jovian Wars? No, I have not, Albin. We'll need a dipping torch. Oh, I assume that's resin related, but I don't know what's got to be in transparent resin. I'm a bit confused about that conversation, actually. Drinking. Oh, yes, from the Nostromo. Okay, yeah. Now I'm with you. The little dunk. Oh, I don't know why I felt obliged to do that physically, but there you go. Don't say I'm not entertaining. I had a run at Jovian Chronicles by DreamPod 9 back in the day. Is it an RPG or is it a book, or what is the deal?
It seems to be like some sort of RPG with ships and models and stuff like that.
So I'm just gonna like type in CRT with images and see if we can like just get some referencing here for what the back of it could look like. I mean, I can from memory do this. I'm thinking like if it's exposed, it might be more interesting. You know, we've got some pictures here that I'm just kind of getting a rough idea of the shape. Although this feels like, maybe if we write 70s CRT, we'll get something better. I guess we're just getting the whole picture rather than the interior. Maybe we write interior. Oh, it's just TVs for the interior. But I think we got a good idea of essentially the shape that we want to create. So I'm going to duplicate this main one, and I'm actually going to create a reverse shape. So I'm going to take elements of the screen here. And I don't really know where I'm going with this. This is a bit of an experiment. Like, this entire project is a bit of an experiment. It is kind of nice and interesting to see how quickly coming back from that traveler tank made me feel more at home being on the Typhon again. A little disconcerting, to be honest. So I'm just going to do an extrusion here, and we'll just go for a little bit of thickness. Let's say 0.4 millimeters is usually a good size because that is generally accepted to be the size of the nozzle. So how wide each filament section is. And then I'm going to do the same now, and I'm just going to go 0.4 again, but I'm going to go down 0.1, and then I'm going to go 0.4 again, and then down 0.2, and then we continue doing this basically. Whoa, what just happened? That does not look right. Okay, alright, we had a bit of an issue here since last time apparently. So, maybe I need to do some mesh adjustments so that this will look okay. And I might... Whoa. What on earth is happening? Okay, down there seem to be some shapes that are just not working with us here. So I'm going to try and match this back down to where it should be, but okay, so that looks right again. So we're creating a bit of a mess there, and maybe we actually need to get a bit more creative if this is going to work. So one way we might be able to cheat the game here is to actually scale this down a bit. So I'm going to see if this... Whoop, we need to select more. We need to construct more pylons. This is irritating the way it's green, so I'm just going to hit it with the default standard surface. Because I think this should help redeem the process again. So now we should technically be going 0.4, 0.4. That worked. So you kind of get the impression that we're trying to do that rough shape that we had. Although, again, we might need to adjust it slightly to just create a bit more of an interesting flow, because we're losing that edge there. So I'm going to go in with these ones.
We've got some suggestions.
Yeah.
Search for CRT deflection joke.
Joke?
Joke, yeah. It's not a funny thing, it's something else.
Yoke? Yoke.
Y.
Yeah. That's not a J, Alban.
No. And then Brian said, think Erlenmeyer flask.
In any case, I think we go 0.8 here. No, sorry.
Oh.
What's up?
It's one of those lab vessels where you mix liquids in when you create.
It's one of those sciencey things.
Yeah.
Alright. Gotcha. Where I want you now, I'm gonna eat you up. Oh, some joke my dad told me about a monkey picking his nose related to that, but I don't remember it. So I've gone to manual mode here, I guess you could say. And we're just looking for an approximation. I don't know really where I'm going with this. Sometimes it helps not to use the automatic scale because you do lose a little bit of detail. But you know, the idea is to kind of get that shape in there. So I don't know if that's perfect, but like we could... My idea is to sort of thicken this up so that, you know, we've still got let's see if I grab all. Ooh, okay, we need to do some adjustments. Need to do some fixings of things. Let's merge these vertexes, and I'm going to be cheeky and just move it down to 0.10, and I'm hoping that it did most of the job. Let's see, something's not lining up. Okay, here it is. This is not lining up, and where is the issue is the question. So that looks lined up more or less. Not quite, actually. So what's going on here? Something is unaligned.
Or neutral.
This ain't D&D. So it seems like this is not properly aligned, and it's probably doing the same thing on the opposite end. That looked alright. It might have been because that was a mirror. So let's try that again. Let's merge the vertexes, and what I'm looking for is just for the outside selection. You know what? Let's do this the cheap and easy way. We delete these. Oh, okay. Is that not aligned? The bottom of the TV was not aligned. Well, that is ultra annoying. Okay, so it's the whole thing. It could be the screen underneath. So I'm not going to take any risks here. I'm just going to do a bridge there and there. Sometimes you just need to recreate your geometry. Look at this. I lost the screen details in the process somehow. Maybe I accidentally did that actually when I was changing that screen. Because that should be a... Oh no. Yeah, okay. I was worried that the objects had merged. No, you know what it is? This is just pressed up against it. That's what it was. Okay. Sorry about that flow of thoughts. We've now got the outside. And I'm just going to extrude this. And I'm just going to have it follow this rough shape. If we can get this done... Oh, it's 4 o'clock already. I was going to say, I'll be very chuffed. Yeah, apparently not. So if we move this so that this also follows the same sort of pattern, and we kind of just fill this in, and I'm gonna just grab here, we're gonna go up to the middle section, and then I guess the trick would be to, yeah, cover this section, that section, that section, and then we can kind of fill it all in again. So we've got that sort of like connecting area, the connecting tissue, if you will. And obviously this is not completely perfect or ideal, but it might serve our purposes. So if you just imagine like we have these sort of like the tubes coming out the back there, and then maybe we have some cables, I think that would look quite cool. It's just that, you know, these screens obviously are a bit deep at present. Perhaps the way to solve this is just to grab this line here, removing that selection there. We could grab along there, and then we could grab these, and we could just go up a little bit on the grid until it's covered, like so. And it's subtle enough that, okay, if you look at it side on, you're going to notice it's a bit weird, but we could actually fix this too by moving this out so it's thickened up as well. Maybe I'll just manually place that just so we've got a little bit of thickness and it looks a bit more deliberate. And then what I'll go through the process of is sort of like duplicating up the screens so they match behind, and I think it would just look really kind of cool. Let's see. Looks like there's a CRT hiding in the casing. Exactly. Wonder if the screen is taken out, leaving a negative cone. We can fill it in with tinted gloss resin modage. Well, you want to actually put screens in. I think the thing with the screens is we did try early on to do some stuff, and it's just like too small at present. Like if you could double the size of this thing, it might make more sense. So I'm wondering if this is aligned, and I know it's roughly 45 degrees, technically, sorry, no, it's 40.5 degrees, I think, roughly. I can bring that up there, and I should be able to rotate it 40.5 degrees. Well, that's just 45, flat out, okay. Alright, so is that going to intersect with the roof? Nope, just out of it. It doesn't quite match up though, that's the problem. Okay. Alrighty, maybe I matched it to the wrong sort of area. I should have... What's at the bottom? Maybe I just need to do like the top corner. Up there. So if I did that, that's 35, 45. So it is sticking out a little bit for some reason. I think it's... Yeah, I don't know if it's the angle or what's going on, but I would suspect there's some intersection here, so... Oh, what a pity. It just is too big. But actually, if we can get this to come back down, so that, let's see if I get the... I'm just trying to orient the pivot so that it follows this shape. Oh, it's really hard to get into. And if I move this down to snap to this surface, oh, that did not work at all. Let's try that again. I actually do need to move the pivot, not just the orientation. There we go. So that fits in place, and that is just not intersecting. That is so close to intersecting, but I'll take it. You can see there that the angle is a bit off though, so maybe if I try this 40.5 that I was talking about. Oh, wow, that didn't look right. Could it be that it's the wrong direction? So what would it be, 49.5? Nope. It just doesn't make sense. I'm going to have to play with that a little bit, but you kind of get the idea about what I'm going for here. I hope. Let's grab these. See what we're looking at. So you would have like all of these screens on each of the sections there. We have some cables and things going in. I think this could look really cool. In any case, yeah, the display is not very wide at all. If like the width here is like an inch, these screens are only like 5 or 6 mils. So yeah, that's not happening. Alrighty. Obviously I'm not going to finish this today. It is Friday. Really looking forward to tomorrow when I can finally have a beers. I want to say. I guess I do have 8 beers in the fridge, but I'll probably give some away. But yeah, we're going to have a good time tomorrow. And I will be thinking of you guys who make it possible. Yeah, fiber optic lighting could probably work. But yeah, I haven't tried anything like that. So yeah, a little bit more detail going into the ship. We might, make a few small adjustments to this section, maybe shave off a little bit so it looks a little bit more asymmetrical, so you can see a little bit more forward, a little bit more busy. But I did want that feeling of someone's installed this station. It's like you've got your pilot, you've got your navigation. I don't know if this is like your FTL or something, or sensors maybe. Communications, that sort of thing, but I do like the look of things and where this is going, and it feels like a natural evolution of this sort of like Nostromo style screen array. So yeah, hopefully you guys are liking the direction of this. I did want to work some more too on the computer room. Obviously it's nowhere near where it should be at the moment, and we will be in the process of making this thing more printable, but it's kind of like the block out has been done. We're going into the details. It's probably got I'd say a solid month of work on it. We're probably going to have to spread that out a little bit, but I'm looking forward to building this. How about we take this out one more time, just looking at the work we did today on the new wallless spaceships. So well, I'll check the stream chat one last time. Great to see the Typhon progressing. Thanks, Tamsin. Leave a space hollow filled with resin. Run a light pipe out the back. Well, there you go. Need enough room for microcontroller for blinky lights. Indeed. All right, so let's run this one more time. Just make sure John's not saying anything. Sorry, in the on Discord there. So it was not stream related, but here we go. This was taken in our office, so it's just outside the door there. You have our sort of traveler section. Some of the miniatures. I want to get this all painted up by the end of things. Because you can kind of see the raw results there. And like we've learned a lot of things doing these. I would probably do some of these models a different way. Some of the ways that Albin did, like especially on the science ship there, did some of those sort of like antenna and that. Kind of got a good reminder today that we can use those parts in other areas for cool antennas and stuff. And I think it really adds like a sense of scale. So yeah, we have our nice lovely wall of ships, the smaller scale stuff, and of course that complements look, you can see the militarized power loader in FDM there. Yeah, these just pop so much. We've got the Delta 2400 with Erebus, with the power loader. And then of course we have our existing wall of spaceships. So yeah, we need some lighting and stuff, but in general the office is looking better than ever.
Yeah.
And again, behind the Type S poster here, there is our print room. So, guys, thank you for joining us today. We are going to basically have our weekend now. So join us next week for the next one. Like and subscribe if you have the will or have not done so already. Just please help us out. And of course, if you want the Erebus, you can make a late pledge on the Kickstarter. Still, the link is below. Click the link. It's the last chance to get the STL files for just €20. And if you want a physical print at John's Kickstarter prices. So it will only go up from here. Alright guys, see you next week. Thanks and bye.